Another ripple projector, but this time this one's got a remote control. And it's interesting to note it's also got a fan in it, and when you select a single colour, the fan ramps up to quite a high speed. But if you select more than one, it really drops the fan speed down, suggesting that the fan's running off the same power supply. Though you'd think, I'm wondering how they're actually doing the LEDs then. I wonder if they're just doing with the resistor across the power supply and it's putting out around about 5 volts. There's only one way to find out, and that's to open it up. So same case as the other fixed colour one I had that was in the metal case, and again the speed control is just a knob in the back, and it's got a modest range, but it doesn't start again at the low level settings. You have to give it a boost up to start and then back down again. I suppose, as has been mentioned, you could stick a capacitor across it and that would give it that initial boost. As a capacitor charged, it would bypass that and just give it that kick. The power it consumes varies on how many LEDs are lit. So say for instance the red is showing about 4.2 watts. If I select white, it draws about 4 watts. Let's see if there's any specific. Oh right, if I select green it goes to 5.8. And blue is about the same. So that's pretty much based on the voltage probably across the LED itself and at a fixed current. Okay, right, let's open it up. Let's take a look inside. The remote control is the generic remote control you often see associated with, you know, just LED lamps. So I'm guessing that's ultimately what it is, and that there's probably an LED lamp circuit in here. Oh, and it does have memory. I believe it's got memory. Certainly it seemed to always start up in the same colour. Certainly, when I was just playing with it there. I haven't left it on long term to see if it actually stores it for a modest length of time. I can see already that it'll fan slot at the back and the fan mountings. So let's get in here. Whoop, he said, leaving a slight skid mark in the case. Okay, first thing I'm seeing is two power supplies. Two of those tiny little switch mode power supplies just tacked onto the motor. Just glued on. Oh, and that it's not actually screwed in. And those resistors are very hot, which, right, okay, that does allude to the fact that it's using a sort of fixed voltage supply, but it's probably current limited. That's why it's ramping up and down. And then it's using a resistor in series with each LED, and I see brown, black, black, which is 10 ohms, and I see red, black, black, which is 20 ohms, and brown, black, black. So the red, black, black, which is the 20 ohm one, will be doing the red LED. I can see the red wire there because it's got the lower voltage, so there's more to drop across the resistor. Two chips. Let's see if they get numbers on them. One anonymous chip, and the other is a 24C02N. That's a memory chip. That it was storing its program because it's got the little memory chip that stores it. So the RGB LED itself is. Well, let's take this out then. Let's lift the whole lot out and take a closer look. So the mains is coming in, it's going into the first power supply and then looping out into the second one. One power supply is, oh, it's just doing the motor. Oh, so the motor speed doesn't ramp up and down. They're not too bothered about the fan speed, but the motor has its own dedicated power supply, and they've used the same approach. I wonder if it's from the same manufacturer, where they've got the little connector just soldered straight onto the potentiometer, and it's just acting as a variable resistor in series with the motor. Yeah, the output of this switch mode power supply here is also looping parallel straight out to the fan. And it's just supplying probably about 5-ish volts maybe. One way to find out, and that's to power it up and measure across those contacts, trying not to short it out in the process. That voltage will in fact vary according to the LEDs that are lit. This is where I blow it up. Sometimes that happens. Let's prop it up against something and get the meter. So we'll set this to about 20 volts. Optimistically, it's not going to be too high. And probing across the supply onto the board will give about 8 volts. That's quite high. It's dropping a modest amount across that resistor then. That explains why they're getting hot. What if I switch in the blue LED? Oop. Where's the... oh, there's the... oh, I see the little remote sensor is just glued in the front and it's got a little cable going out to this. Oh, that's what it is there. That's the 3 cables going out to it there. So now I've energized the blue LED. The voltage is still 8 volts. What if I energize all the LEDs so they're all drawing current now? Oh, it's dropped way down to about 4.7. So yeah, it looks like it's just a standard current regulated supply, current limited supply, and they've just they're balancing it off with these resistors just to roughly spread the current between the LEDs. So simple enough. The fan makes a modest bit of noise, but other than that, you know, it's not bad. It's certainly the colour mixing effect is pretty goodish. And it's just got the standard sort of lens in the front. I was going to say I should show you it, but I've already shown you it switching the colours. But it produces the typical sort of ripple effect of these units. But yeah, it's an interesting wee unit. Again, the power supply is, there's no ground connection onto the case, but having said that, yes, heat shrink and glue is basically the insulation there. Oop, that disc is rubbing. But yeah, it works. I like the fact it's got memory, so it at least stores the setting. Although those resistors do get very hot. Then again, ultimately they're supposed to. Ultimately, that's their job, isn't it? And odd that was just shoved down inside the case like that. But yeah, the most interesting thing is the fact it uses a separate one of those little switch mode supplies just for the motor speed to make sure it remains constant. I suppose that's reasonable enough. They're not too bothered about the fan ramping up and down. Oh, and they've got a proper strain relief gland in the case, plus they've got hot melt glue squirted into it, and they've got a knot with more glue on top of it of a different type, I think. Yeah, that's a super strain relief. But yeah, interesting, worth taking a look inside. Oh, that's worth mentioning. This is the type that is directly mains powered and has this type of remote control, because I'm guessing they're all fairly common.